Darkcast Network. Indie pods with a dark side.
You are listening to Castles and Cryptids, where the castles are haunted and the cryptids are cryptic as fuck. And I'm your host, Alanna.
And I'm Kelsey.
And we are at episode, drumroll, 191.
Yeah.
But don't ask us what's happening for the 200th yet, because we don't know. What do you want to happen?
We have to decide what we're doing first.
Right. Yeah, maybe we'll do something a little different. Who knows? Maybe we'll just do some of the favorite stuff that we like.
I know, something easy, please.
Like. Reddit stories. Yeah, no, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's funny because sometimes we do get emails about people that want to guest on podcast shows, and I'm just so shy that I'm like, I would love to have a guy on to talk about his like Bigfoot book, but I'm like shy, and then I'm like, I don't know, we're not like a huge podcast, like, or, you know, because sometimes people are just sending out feelers and stuff, like they're marketing, right? And then I don't want to be like, yeah, come on my show, and then they look at our actual like analytics and they're like, no, you're not big enough. I'd be like crushed. Can you imagine? Because like shit like that's happened on like Instagram before, where people were like, yeah, we should do a collab, and then I was like, ha ha ha, with little old us, and then I like never heard anything back, and I was like, okay, but also I'm bad at scheduling that stuff.
Yeah. I was like, we are not good at social media, and we can barely plan between the two of us, let alone somebody that I don't know, might not be in our time zone or anything.
It can be tough, and I kudos to all the people that get all the guests and stuff, because it is tough coordinating that kind of stuff,
especially on like a regular basis, if that's what they do all the time.
I know. Like, good for you, people, and I know I need to do more collabs and stuff, because that's how people find your podcast. By the way, rate us on freaking Spotify, please. But yeah. It's tough. Social media is hard, but I played around with AI. Did you see? I made a post.
Yeah, it was cute.
Did it? Was it? I only saw like one like or something, and I was like, come on, people! Mothman and Bigfoot are watching a movie.
I was leaving work last night when I saw it, so I was just like, oh, that's cute.
Oh, yes. I did it. I played around.
I was like, it's a 9:30 at night. I'm like, look at this better when I get home.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, but Instagram's got a bunch of like new features with AI that every time you go to post, it's like,
that's cool.
Do you want to post a regular post or this? And I was like, maybe, but I'm scared.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is fun. Because I was trying to make one for our Patreon episode, which is up now, you guys. We rated a bunch of movies. Well, I don't know about rated. Discussed our favorite movies and our some of our least favorite movies. Some of which of yours was surprising, and I loved it. It was fun, I thought. So that's why I was making I want Bigfoot rating movies. Make it for me, AI. And then it does, and then you can like talk to it, and I was like, what is happening?
Oh, creepy. I don't like that.
I've created a digital monster. He's literally a monster. He's a cryptid. It's very bizarre, Kelsey. I don't know.
Creepy.
But that's not what we're here to talk about today, other than go follow us on Instagram and Spotify and rate us. Thank you.
Yeah, please do.
Please do. Because sometimes I do announce if we're going to be like off for the week or whatever, and I'll put it on some of our socials, trying to be communicative.
Yeah.
But yeah. And if anybody wonders if there's no new episodes, it's usually my brother texting me. Good pods glitch?
He's like, "Are you
No,
guys
Kelsey
being
was
lazy
sick.
again?"
Yeah.
Uh,
Exactly. But yeah, anyway.
scheduling conflicts,
Oh, right.
all that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this one we're recording a little later than we'd like to usually, but that's okay. Stuff. We had Patreon. Busy
Yeah.
little
I'm off on
beavers.
Thursday, so I can work on it too.
Ooh,
That
nice.
helps. It's nice having the Thursday off. It can be like the
I
fallback.
know. Exactly. Otherwise, I'm like, ugh, like if I left all the editing to the last minute, because of course I do, and then I'm like, I'll have to do it all after work.
Yeah.
I'd much rather
Yeah.
be at
It's
work
the
and see
worst.
the notification that says you just finished it. I'm like, my post production is complete. Nothing is
Oh,
more
really? You get
satisfying.
notifications for that?
It sends you an email through Zencaster, yeah.
Oh, that's annoying.
It is a little unnecessary to get an email about it, I guess.
You're like, yes, thank you. I just did that.
I know. Sometimes I've already moved away from my computer because I'm tired of waiting for it. So it can be kind of
Yeah.
handy. Oh gosh,
Weird.
anyway. Sorry. Here I'm like, I'm tired. And then we get on here and I'm like, blah, 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 blah.
Just excited to talk about twins.
Twinning.
Yeah.
Yes. Have you known any twins in your lifetime?
Yes, actually. Growing up, I had like fraternal twins that oh my gosh, it would have been like in starting in about elementary school, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
to kind of like partway through middle school to almost high school, I think, before they like you have more schooling options. So then we ended up going to different
Yeah.
schools and stuff. But I was pretty
Yeah.
close with them. We hung out all the time,
Oh, really?
and
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, we knew some in elementary school. I think maybe because I veered off into the French junior high or whatever. So then a lot of the other students and people went to a different school. But yeah, there
mm,
was the twins that when their dad, I remember the story because when their dad called one day to ask about them or something, their last name is King, and he said to my mom, "Hello, this is Stephen King," and she was like, "What?" And she's like, "Oh, it was so and so and so and so's, father, like his twin girls or whatever." And she's like, "Oh, okay."
yeah,
Yeah, always makes me laugh.
yeah. I always thought it was kind of funny. They never told me about any like twin phenomena or whatever that they ever
Hmm.
experienced, I guess.
Okay.
But they had younger sisters that were also fraternal twins. So it
Oh,
was like the
wow.
two sets of twins. Yeah.
Two sets of twin
So,
girls?
yep.
Oh, shit.
And then they adopted dogs that were like born in the same litter that were brothers or something. So I was like, oh, like twins and twins and
Nice.
twins. So I thought it
Damn.
was,
And twins have
yeah.
twins, like genetically or whatever. It'll run in
Yeah,
the
I did run
family.
across when I was like looking stuff up that it said technically that twins aren't like a um like genetic thing that can be passed on. There's actually no proof that it is like to make you more genetically likely to have or like give birth to twins if you are a twin or anything. And I was like,
Oh, weird, because you
"Oh,
hear that a lot. Yeah.
yeah." They're like, "Oh, twins run on this side of my family." They're like, "No, it's always 100% random." And I'm like, "Is it? Are we sure on that?"
Oh, because I was like, I found like, yeah, some of the stuff in the intros to the articles I was reading too was like, well, this is how a fraternal twin is different from an identical. And I was like, oh, like different
Yeah.
ways that egg forms or split. Yeah, anyway. Cool, interesting
Yeah, cuz
stuff.
like yeah, I was like, "Oh, that's really weird." I was like, "I've always kind of heard the opposite that
Yeah.
uh it can like run in sides of the family." and everything. So I was like, okay. I didn't dive more into that, but
Right. Yeah, because
like,
but the thing
damn.
I read, if identical twins is sort of more of a fluke or something, as they were saying, then I guess maybe that
Yeah,
wouldn't be something that could be inherited necessarily. But that's still
maybe.
strange. Yeah, I've never looked into it,
Yeah.
so you just believe whatever you hear.
Yeah,
So,
because I remember like my mom or somebody telling me that somebody she knows, their family, twins is like every second generation, like going back
mm,
however many
yeah,
generations has had twins in it every time. And it's like,
which
wow,
seems
like
pretty
that's crazy.
uncommon. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit.
Yeah. I don't know. Let us know. Write us in the comments. You're
Yeah.
all smarter than
If
us.
you
No.
if you guys are a twin, let us know what you guys have experienced and if it runs in your family or seems to.
Mm, my favorite twins, I like well, they used to go by the Bella twins when they were in the WWE. So Nikki and
Mm,
Brie Bella, or Garcia is their real last name.
okay.
And then they would do like twin magic stuff, like one of them fighting in the ring. And then like they'd have the other one, especially when they really like had the same like hairstyle and everything, because they are really hard to tell
Yeah.
apart. They're identical. They would have one of them come up from underneath like the wrestling ring from under the mat and like switch out and like be like twin
Oh.
magic. Yeah, it was like their thing, which is kind of
Um
a cool shtick. I mean, it's
yeah.
unique. Yeah.
I my biggest one was probably Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen.
Aw, with all their movies.
All the movies, even the books. My parents bought me the
Oh,
books, and then there was a
oh, there's
TV
books.
show.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
yeah. Well, I guess the books were like, it was so stupid. It was um, like Nancy Drew type books where
Mm,
they're solving crime. I don't know.
nice. Nice. I mean, I was
Yeah.
into the Babysitters Club, and I remember
Yeah.
them really having a moment with
Early
those
90s
twins. Yeah.
genre. Yeah.
Yeah. All their New York. Well, I don't know. I don't know what the movies are. I think it was a little maybe
New
past
York
my
Minute.
time. I was gonna say something like that, but then I was like, I don't know. This feels like me trying to
No.
make a SpongeBob reference. Like it's just not my wheelhouse.
Yeah, so that was
Yeah.
probably. And then I can't remember their names. I did run across them when I was looking up twins. They were in the Twitches movies, the Teen Witches. They're also like
Oh.
identical twins. Yeah, they were really.
Hmm.
I'll see if I can find their name. I also really
Oh.
liked them too. I
Oh, we
think they're
should
in
do
like
a.
TV shows and stuff too.
I forget what I was listening to. I wonder if it was like WikiHole or someone that does little puzzles and quizzes and stuff, and they were like talking about famous people and asking if they were twin or nah or something. And I was like, oh yeah, because there's some that
Oh.
you forget have like Scarlett Johansson, Alanna Morissette, like they both have twins and they're famous, and you
Oh
don't think,
yeah.
yeah,
I
there's some
think I
that have
went through
twins that
that
you
whole
forget
thing.
about.
Yeah. A lot that have fraternal twins that
Right.
um yeah, it's
Don't look
Tia
alike.
Tia and Tamara Mowry, their
Oh
names
yeah,
are.
them. Right.
Yeah, they've been in like they were in a TV show when they were younger too that I don't really remember
Right.
ever watching any of the other stuff that they were in, but
Yeah, me neither, but they were always in People magazine because then they were famous. Yeah.
yeah, very like
Very-
Disney Channel. It says the
Yeah, I
movie
can't
came
remember.
out in 2005. I was like, "Ooh, I was 10. It was the perfect age." A spooky
Meanwhile,
witch movie.
18 over here. Yeah. Yeah. Or whatever. Something like that. Oh,
So I'm gonna send you the link because then you can like follow along with my
okay.
thing because I didn't get any pictures or anything like that because this is just like a listicle. But
Okay. Oh,
yeah,
yeah, there's probably
this
some I could
is
upload.
Siamese twins or like conjoined twins, I'd say is
Oh,
probably a
yeah.
better word for it.
Right. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think we stopped saying that one, but I didn't even think of those. Interesting.
Yeah, I ran across one of them and then I was like, oh yeah, um I remember like watching actually the first ones, Abby and Brittany Hensel. They had a TLC show,
Okay.
and
Oh, good old
yeah, I
TLC.
remember. Yeah, the Learning Channel. Uh,
Learning about very different things.
exploiting people for the sake of
Oh,
money. Like, I
I
feel
know.
like
I didn't
every
know where
show
to go with that.
I
Yeah, it's a
feel like
lot of
every show on there
reality.
I watched, looking back, was awful. It was like, oh, John and Kate plus 8? Yeah, sure. I'm
Oh,
watching
right.
this. I'm watching Little People Big World. I'm watching My 600-Pound Life
I
and
was gonna say, is that the one that has those shows? Okay, yeah. I did
Hoarders
watch
and
John and Kate.
oh, my
Damn, they
mom
fell
loved
hard.
that show. My mom loved that show. And we also watched I can't remember what their show was called, but um yeah, Abby and Brittany, they got pretty big popularity. They live in the US, and yeah, there was kind of interesting the little blurb it has here on the listicle. They were born March 7th, 1990 in Carver County, Minnesota. um
It's like 2 years after
and
me.
yeah,
Been a week.
so they share like their torso, and then each
Ooh,
of their heads is kind of like side by side on the like their necks, and then they each control
okay.
one of the arms and one of the legs.
That's
And
actually not terrible. It's like kind of a classic setup.
yeah,
You got
I
an
think
arm?
it's probably, yeah, like they have had to learn a lot of coordination. I think they used to
Mm.
play soccer and everything like that too, which was pretty cool. And then they also like
Oh,
documented them
yeah.
learning how to drive and that kind of stuff. Uh, which is kind of interesting because they are really, I look at it like if they can only control one arm and one leg each, then they probably can't feel too much on the other side. Like I'm not too sure. So,
Right.
yeah, it would take
It's
a
an
lot of
interesting thing to
coordination
think
and
about.
teamwork for, yeah, like walking and all that
Mm.
stuff. It says that they were born with two hearts, two sets of lungs, and two separate brains. But they've
Wow.
defied all the odds and have learned to live a happy and comfortable life. Yeah, it said they can drive and even ride a bike. And in 2012, the twins graduated from Bethel University with a Bachelor of Arts degree in education.
Oh, wow. Good for them.
Yeah, and people always ask about like separation, but in their case, like I don't think there's any safe way to do it. Uh, it
Right.
did say
Because
in
they're
the
just
thing
like
that the
two heads on a body. Like, yeah, I saw
yeah, for
the.
the most part. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, so I remember like watching their show and everything growing up, which was pretty interesting. I think one of them even recently has gotten married, and
Aw.
yeah, there's like a whole bunch of different like living situations I ran across with people.
Talk
Uh,
about sister wives. Yeah. It's got
yeah.
to be difficult, challenging.
Yeah, some of these I will say theirs, like because they were born fairly recently in the 1990s, their life has definitely had a more positive life than a lot of the other
Yeah.
people that are conjoined twins that you run across in any sort of looking up a lot. It's a lot of like abandoned at birth, sold into, I don't know, like circus or freak shows owned by different people and
Right. I
exploited,
guess it
taken on.
would be.
Yeah, so there's a lot of that, and I did find this listicle didn't really talk about any of that, kind of glossed over. So just an umbrella, almost all the other cases that happened. If anything was before, like, I don't know, 1980 really.
Oh.
So yeah,
Oh.
because this one doesn't really talk about it. But yeah, I think each of these you could like look up individually if you were interested in learning more.
It's kind of fascinating.
But
Yeah, you're like, what?
yeah, uh, I do remember a couple of the other sets of conjoined twins. I remember watching stuff about them, and like some of them have done surgeries to separate and that kind of stuff, which I
Right.
remember hearing about. But
Doesn't
so
always
the
go
second
well.
one, no. Sometimes one or both of them end up dying, um, which I can't imagine like how hard that would be for parents to have to decide, because you're looking sometimes at like quality of life or like no life, I guess. Like,
Yeah,
um,
fucking talk about Sophie's Choice or just the hardest thing.
yeah, and
Like,
then sometimes it's not even just like quality of life, it's literally how they're conjoined is like harming one or the other or both of them, so they do have to attempt to separate them just for like safety reasons. So
oh,
yeah, I think that would be the
so
scariest, be
scary.
like, oh, we have to do this. But the next is Ladan and Leah Bijani. They were born
Okay.
January 17th, 1974,
Oh, I think I saw their
in
picture.
Iran. Yeah, so they're born kind of like the sides of their head is together. Um,
That's rough.
so yeah, just be like, um, yeah, they were very different in terms. Oh, they're very different in terms of personality. They note that one of them is more shy and the other one's more outgoing. And in this one is kind of sad. In 2002, they met in Asia, they met a neurosurgeon and insisted to them that they wanted an operation to separate. And they
Mm-hmm.
were eventually operated on at Raffles Hospital in Singapore on July 6th, 2003. It says against the surgeon's advice. And they did end up
Against.
dying. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. No elaboration. Which, yeah.
That is
They
insane.
did die on July 8th, 2003, due to complications associated with that surgery.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it doesn't really talk about where all they're connected. It really looks like it's just their head. But I mean, if you're talking like brain matter and that kind of stuff, could get dicey really quickly.
Yeah. And they just they wanted to do it, but the surgeons were like, no. And they were just like,
I guess so, or maybe they talked to like maybe they talked to certain surgeons and they
yeah.
didn't want to do it, and then they talked to like a different group that was like, yeah, sure, we'll do it. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like,
Second opinion. Oh my
yeah.
gosh. They
So
looked
yeah, that
very
one's
happy in
kind
the
of
picture. Yeah.
right. That's the thing. It said that they were like speaking at news conferences and they would like share their story and stuff, I guess. But
They wear one hijab
yeah.
over their head. Oh.
Yeah,
And they're smiling. Oh, it makes me so sad.
right? Yeah.
Oh.
So I'm sure if you like looked up more, it would have their like reasons, maybe, if they talked about that ever. But yeah, that one's pretty sad.
Yeah.
Another one, these are, I think these are the that one's 1811. Is this one this is the second oldest ones I ran into, I think.
Oh, really? Wow.
It's Giacomo and Giovanni Battista, I want to say like Toy or Tucci. It looks like Tucci, but it's not Tucci. It's not Stanley Tucci.
Tucci, but with an O. Tocci?
Yeah.
Super Italian,
Yeah.
however you say it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
weird.
they don't know the exact date of birth, born sometime between 1875 and 1877 in Lacona, Italy. And it said that they were handed over to the Royal Academy of Medicine in Turin when they were just 1 month old. And
holy shit.
I think I remember like some other stuff happening, but they at one point ended up spending about 20 years traveling to different countries for all these like exhibitions, which were basically just like freak shows and stuff.
Wow.
That's
crazy that they were able to be born at that time. Like, they almost look like
that's a good point.
The first girls you talked about, but like, it's almost like they're facing more together. Like, I don't know if that's just
they're kind of like torso to torso. Yeah,
and they have another arm. They each have 2 arms. It's just different. I'm like, wow, can you imagine that coming out of the birth canal? Holy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, this one was kind of weird because it said in 1897 they decided to retire to Italy because they had like saved up a bunch of money. I think it said
like 20
I ran across something
or whatever.
Yeah, something. I ran across, I think, something that said they had over $1 million that they like got from
maybe
something.
In today's money?
Yeah, I was like, yeah, it said like converted, it was $1 million in today's money, and it said they bought like this nice little plot of land and decided they were just gonna retire and live a nice life, and it's like, okay, like good for them.
Hell yeah. I mean, maybe it was $1 million. There was some chick of Wall Street, or I don't know. I was listening to the dollop. I don't remember now, but she had more money before like J.P. Morgan, and she was like this eccentric. I think she lived on Wall Street. That's all I can remember now. But I was just like, wait, what? I didn't think that women could have that much money at that time. Like,
yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, so they bought a villa, they retired in Venice. It said they later married sisters and lived in seclusion. And that there are several conflicting reports about their death, with some sources claiming that the 2 brothers died in 1906. But then in 1911, another report confirmed that they were still alive, and then some other things say that they died in 1940. So we don't really know. But
because if they were born in 1870 something, then like 1906, they wouldn't have been very old. But
no.
Yeah. We'll split the difference. Say call it 1920.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the middle.
So, never mind. I was like looking, I was like, didn't I just do number 3? And I was like, no, this list is numbered wrong. And it was like, goes 1, 2, 3, 3, 4. And I was like, cool. It's not me, it's the list. This listicle is wrong.
Good Lord.
You see this? Funny. You see this shit? This cat staring at me.
Just saw his mouth open after you did that. I don't know what he was doing.
The next pair are Krista and Tatiana. I love that name. It's so nice.
Me too.
Hogan. and they are Canadian, which is pretty
Whoa.
cool. Yeah.
Any relation to Hulk Hogan?
I don't think so.
Actually, I don't know if
But
he's Canadian. I know the Hart brothers are. Yeah.
I don't think Hulk Hogan is, but
Oh, they're little.
uh
No, I think you're
yeah,
right. He's probably from like fucking California or something.
they were born October 25th, 2006, and it says they're joined at the head and share a brain. So I don't think they would
Oh,
any chance
joined
of
at the head
separation,
and
but they
share
were
a brain.
yeah.
Sorry.
They were given just a 20% chance of survival at birth,
Oh my
and they obviously survived. They're now teenagers, and all it really says is that they appeared on, I wouldn't call these reputable TV shows, but including the Tyra Banks show.
God. Smize. Time to smize,
Yeah,
ladies.
smile your eyes. Yeah, that's all it really says about them.
Okay.
That's kind of disappointing. I forgot it had so little about them. Hopefully
Damn.
they're
Can you
doing
imagine
doing
sharing a
well.
brain? Sometimes I
Yeah,
feel like
like
I
how
share
does
a
that
brain cell. My
Yeah,
gosh.
like I wonder. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, like would you have different personalities then?
Yeah, I don't know. Or could you like um be like saying two different things at the same time, like telling two different stories, and like your brain being able to follow the two trains of thought and send off like the
Yeah.
same signals to like make your mouth move and like form the words at the same time. Like
Like, yeah, if
interesting.
one's controlling the left side and one the right or something. Pardon me.
Yeah. Hmm.
Confusing to think about, but we also don't understand very much about our our
No.
brains and our minds.
Very little even
Yeah.
now.
We're trying, we're
Um
getting there.
yeah. Um the next pair are Millie and Christine McCoy, and they were African American conjoined twins, also born quite a while ago on July 11th, 1851 in North Carolina. To
Oh.
and yeah, they were conjoined kind of like the tailbone, and um
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah, they almost look like they're standing back to back in this photo, but I can't
Yeah.
tell if they're like leaning more in.
I think this is one of the
Weird.
only pictures I saw of them. People like drew pictures of them because they also had
Oh yeah.
really, there was a lot of history if you look them up. Um, that was like really hard to read through about them like being sold to different people because um they got sold to like their plantation owner or something, and then that person like sold them to other
Oh.
people, and then they were taken to different freak shows, and they because they were conjoined twins, they like a lot of times they weren't allowed to wear clothes so that people could see how they were attached, and yeah, it was a
Oh
whole
my
thing. It was
god.
very very sad to read
Disturbing.
through. Yeah, which
Yeah.
is kind of why I didn't want to do deep dives on a bunch of these, because a lot of it was a lot um to
Mhm.
read through. So
Hard
yeah.
enough just to live back in some of those times, let alone
Yeah.
be literally joined at the
Uh
hip, as they say. Like they look
yeah,
like they are joined at the hip. Honestly,
yeah.
that's
It
weird.
said the
That's
twins
crazy.
spent their entire life globetrotting, performing songs and dancing for entertainment. I remember
Yeah.
reading something that like they also learned how to play the violin, and um I can't remember what other instruments, but they learned different ways of dancing and all that kind of stuff that
Oh
they were said to
damn.
be really good at. Uh,
I wonder
yeah.
if it is like, trying to do a 3-legged race, or how easy it is to coordinate when like they don't share a brain, but they share a body.
No. Yeah. They did have a bunch of stage names. I feel like I should look this up because they only list like 2 of them here, and it's not even the good ones. I was like,
Oh
no,
my
they had a way
gosh.
better stage name.
Oh, I looked up Hulk Hogan, and he is from America. He's from Georgia.
Oh, okay.
I was like, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, they're kind of like conjoined at the back, and then it looks like they have 4 legs still.
Oh my gosh.
So
4 legs.
yeah, they were called the United African Twins, the Carolina Twins, the Two-Headed Nightingale, and then also the Eighth Wonder of the World. But
Ugh, of course.
yeah.
Everything's the 8th wonder
Yeah,
of the
the
world.
little thing says overcoming years of slavery, forced medical observations, and forced participation in fairs and freak shows. And I was like, oh great, this will be a fun read. Yeah. So they died on October 8th, 1912 due to tuberculosis. And I didn't really realize this was possible until I was reading about this one, that Christine passed away 12 hours after her sister. So she was like,
Oh
yeah,
no.
yeah, her sister had passed away and then she passed away. I think both of them were pretty ill, but then I started reading, or I mean, running into a lot of these where one of them passes away and then the other one basically just dies because they're connected and get like blood poisoning. And I was like, God damn
I
it.
mean,
Like, yeah.
I guess you would have something.
And
Like
one
you
of
can
the
get
ones I ran
sepsis.
into,
Yeah.
right? One of the ones I ran into said that the one had passed away like between 2 and 3 days after the other one did. And it was
Oh,
like, ugh, yeah, like I can't imagine that. Like how does that even happen or work?
yeah, like part of your own body is like poisoning you. Ugh.
Yeah, that would be like devastating because there's nothing you can do at that point. Last thing you want to do is like emergency
No.
surgery or something.
Ugh. I don't like it. I don't like that.
Yeah.
I don't like to think about it.
The next twins are Donnie and Ronnie Gallion or Galion, maybe. I remember seeing them on TV before, because they have a very different configuration. They were joined from it says from the groin to the sternum, so like basically partway through their chest. And then it
God.
kind of looks like they're basically just sitting on each other's laps because their legs are kind of folded together, and then they basically just are like sitting all the time. Yeah, and then they're like fully facing each other. Yeah.
Okay, I gotta look.
And they were this one has them number 5, but again, there was 2 number 3s. So yeah, they're the ones that are like
1, 2, 4, 5
sitting on the floor. Yeah.
Oh gosh. Again with the like you're like facing each other, which is just so how do you ever get any privacy? Oh.
Yeah.
I don't like it. But good for them for dealing with it. What else are you gonna do?
Yeah. Right? Like they were born on October 28th, 1951 in Dayton, Ohio. And it said they were abandoned by their mother and were raised by their father and stepmother, which kudos for them.
Oh no.
Like way to step up.
Oh,
Like, that's nice.
so sad, Kelsey.
Yeah. I wish I remembered like some of these, but I
scrolled down
watched
too
like
far.
things about them when I was so young, I guess. It's like so long ago. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
sometimes
you don't
it's
hear
like, oh,
talk
I
about them too
vaguely
often.
remember. Yeah, I'll be like, oh,
Exactly.
I
They're pretty
vaguely remember
rare.
hearing or seeing something about them, but
Not so often you always go down a conjoined twin rabbit hole. Yeah.
yeah. So the Galian twins, they died on July 4th, 2020 at the age of 68. So they did live
Oh, wow.
quite a while. They do talk about sometimes like people not living very
Pardon me.
long and that kind of stuff. So
So much
yeah,
strain on the body's processes, I would imagine.
I would I would think, yeah, like especially if you
Yeah,
have like two sets of a lot of things. Like if you're sharing things, it might not be so bad, but if you have like two hearts and like um two stomachs, or like how much extra work is everything doing if
Yeah,
you're having
pumping
to
out
like
all the
consume like double
blood
the
and
amount of food and double the amount of water and
yeah, and I'm like, this is all speculation. I would have no idea how any of that works. It just confuses the mind to think about. Like,
yeah
but damn, like, yeah, exactly. If you have more than one organ, there's twice as much chance for like disease and everything, I would think.
yeah
But
yeah uh the next twins are Ahmed and Ibrahim, or Ibrahim. They were born in 2001 in Egypt, and they were joined at the top of the head. And if I remember correctly, they were like basically the crowns of their head were together, so they were like kind of just laying head to head. And
that's not very easy.
no, I remember watching stuff about them because they did do
Uh-huh.
a separation surgery,
I think I
and
saw that
I
picture.
remember
Oh,
like yeah, leading up to it and everything,
scary.
I remember there was like videos of them trying to crawl and everything because they were really really young. They were like 2 when they decided to do the surgery.
Oh.
And yeah, thankfully it was really successful. There was like multiple um teams of doctors that kind of um went through because it was like a 34-hour surgery that happened
Holy
in Dallas,
fuck.
Texas. So they had different like rotations of doctors that came in the 34 hours, like shifts.
I mean, you could have told me that their heads got
So
flattened in some accident from that picture, and I would have been like, okay, yeah, like his head
yeah,
looks like flat from where it was attached, I guess. It's like, whoa.
yeah, they weren't like, yeah, it was kind of like the crown and then like kind of to the side. It didn't, yeah. Um, yeah, not good, but
Awkward
it said
placement.
that
Yeah.
it said they're back living in Egypt and doing well. I hope that's the case. I mean,
Wow.
no updates, I guess,
They,
since 2001. So
they'd
hopefully
be
everybody's okay. And
24. Holy shit.
yeah, yeah.
Yes, we hope they're doing well.
Uh,
I don't know if I can bear to look into it right now, but oh gosh,
yeah,
you
that's
can
why I was
say
like, this
that.
article isn't even that old. Why doesn't it have like any updates about these? Like,
We wish them well.
yeah. Next is Lori and George Chappelle. They were born Lori and Dory. Uh,
Aw.
yeah.
Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming.
They are conjoined. The only picture really I saw is like the one they have here in the article that looks like they're conjoined kind of like the side and then the front of their heads, but they're kind of facing opposite each other. Like, yeah. But it looks like it's messed up, like their one eyes. So they only have like really the one eye. But they're each like facing, so like one's looking out the back of the other kind of thing. Like they can look forward and behind at the
they're
same
not
time, I
looking in the
guess.
same
I don't really know.
direction. Oh my god,
No.
Kelsey. Oh,
Yeah.
how do they live? Oh,
I
that
think they're
sucks.
doing okay. I mean, they were born September 18th, 1961 in Sinking Spring, Pennsylvania. And then I
Holy
guess
shit.
Dory in
Sorry.
2007 said that they were suffering from a gender identity disorder since childhood and that they identified as male, and then that's when
Okay.
they decided to change their name to George. So they're now listed as the only
Oh.
like conjoined twins that aren't the same gender in the world, I guess. Because
Right,
of
right.
George. So yeah, I hope they're doing well. I mean, this would be really hard. Um and everything. I think it said that they were like, oh, it does have some more information. Yeah, his gender transformation made him and Lori the first same-sex Siamese or conjoined twin to be identified as different genders. And George has performed as a country singer and has won an LA Music Award for Best New Country Artist, while Lori is a successful bowler. At
Oh
61,
my
they are the
god.
oldest known surviving conjoined twins. I think I saw something because there's a bit like up debate about like because of birthdays and birth years of some of the older conjoined twins. It's hard to say who actually is like the oldest or has who lived the longest.
Wouldn't they? It says they were
But
born in 61. Wouldn't, so they're
yeah,
how old now? They would be like 39
at the
plus
time this was
25,
written, it
right?
said
Oh,
61. So,
okay.
but that this I think
I
is
can't.
like what
I can't
2001,
math.
2002.
I can't math today. I had to tell somebody what their total of their fines was, and it was like I don't know, 175 plus 95, and I was doing it longhand on the piece of paper because I don't know, when I'm on the phone I'm
Yeah.
like I don't know, I think I panic a little bit, and then after I looked at it I went like I couldn't have just gone like, oh, what's 170 plus 100? It's five less than that. I was like, oh my god, I was here like carry the one, like like because I'm on the phone and I'm trying not to like I don't know. We're only allowed to tell them
Yeah.
like the total of their fines, not like how many fines they have or any details or anything, because it's over the phone.
Okay.
So
Stupid.
VoIP and privacy and whatever. Oh, I tell you. But the amount of people that don't know what the fucking cars they have are and what license plates they have, it's astounding.
Oh my god. Oh yeah.
You have 6 vehicles. Well, which one failed? Well, it's this one with this license plate. Well, I don't know what that is. Well, I don't know either, sir. It's something. Oh, God.
Yeah,
Sorry.
stupid. Just have a couple more.
Okay. I
Um,
haven't heard of any of these ones, I don't think.
Oh, I had at least 3 of them that I remember
Huh.
hearing about. Yeah, just how worldly TLC was. Just
I keep thinking of like, I thought there was one called Big Jim and the Twins, but they were maybe in the Guinness book for something else. I don't know. Maybe there were a tall guy and the shortest twins or something.
okay.
Mother, am I
Yeah, they
making
love
this
to do
up?
that.
Yeah, I
They
know it's also
love to
like a
do that.
euphemism. Big Jim and the twins. But like, I swear I'm picturing like fat twins on like little motorbikes or something.
Oh,
I don't remember.
weird.
I know. So that's my childhood. No.
So strange. So next is Rodney and Roger Brody. They were born September 16th, 1951 in Rock Island, Illinois. And they're also joined at like the tops of their heads. Yeah, like the crown basically looks like from like basically one forehead kind of like merges into the other forehead. So very, very joined.
Oh my gosh.
It said they had separate blood and nervous systems. However, they shared a sagittal sinus. Yeah, it must be sagittal sinus. The canal that drains blood from the brain to the heart. And yeah, this one's also pretty
like
sad. December 17th.
Because it's like you said, they're like four heads just blend into one another. Like they're one big long head. I cannot get over this.
December 17th, 1952, it said a medical team attempted to separate them in a surgery that lasted 12 hours, and they were 15 months old at the time. It was somewhat successful. It said Roger Brody died 34 days after the operation, while Rodney died in 1963, nearly 10 years after the surgery. So, I mean,
I would like to say
successful,
that I don't consider that somewhat successful.
Well, one of them did live for 10 years, but who's to say how long they would have lived still, like, conjoined like that? But, yeah.
I just was looking at the picture and reading it as you're going to it, and I was like, oh my god. This is breaking my heart. Oh, that's rough.
This is the last one. This is well, if you look up their history, it's also very exploitation, that kind of stuff. But what it has here is so nicely written out and glosses over any badness that these ones, Chang and Ing Bunker, they were born in Siam, Siam, now known as Thailand, and they are kind of that's believed to be where the name Siamese twins came from. Because they were like they're kind of dubbed the original Siamese twins. So
and Siamese cats. The first of those were there.
Not sure about that. But it says they were connected at the breastbone by just a small piece of cartilage, a type of connective tissue. So like not a whole lot.
You can pierce through that shit, yeah.
I know. You could have just with a knife.
They're like the cats. We are Siamese, if you please. We are Siamese, if you don't please. They're just like, nah, we're good. Cut us up.
There's a whole bunch of stuff about them, like they were born, I think I might have not said this, they were born May 11th, 1811, so a long time ago. I think out of the entire list of conjoined twins I read, they were the second oldest, like born the second earliest date out of anybody listed. There was one that was like 1700 and something, and I was like, Jesus,
that's even insane. Like, yeah. If there were earlier ones, I can't imagine they would have survived very long, unfortunately.
No, like even the like infant mortality rate was so high in general, let alone
because if they went breech or anything, like they're not in the right position they're supposed to be, like if your midwife can't get her hand up in there and turn that shit around, like you're not gonna do well. Before we had the C-section, well, the C-section's been around for a long time, but before we had a safe one that was like, mother's gonna live too, you know.
Yeah.
Oh god. Bring back abortion care. Oh my god. What is happening?
Yeah.
We're in the Handmaid's Tale now, Kelsey. Anyway.
Almost done. They relocated to the US in 1829 and settled in North Carolina. This is where things I think get fun. They had bought a huge plot of land as well. They got married to two sisters and reportedly had more than 20 children between the two of them.
Oh my god.
I think it said that the sisters lived in different houses and they alternated 3 days at a time at each of the sisters' houses. I was like, okay.
To maintain a sort of separation. Because there's no separation when you're having the sex. Talk about Handmaid's Tale. If one thing stuck out to me when we had to read that book for book club, it was that the wife was there and the other chick was there and they were both there while the banging was going on. It didn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
But it is a scary thing. Anyway.
Yeah. Never watched the show. I don't think I finished the book. It just is too dry for me. I don't like just straight drama or whatever books. So it was like, ugh, I could not get into it at all.
Talk about starting it right now. Yeah, it's too dark. It's too close to home. No, I can't.
Yeah, so reportedly they have more than 20 kids. They lived for over 60 years. A lot of things say that they're the oldest, or they lived the longest.
Okay.
But yeah, not too sure on that one. They died on January 17th, 1874. And it said that Ing died several hours later after Chang. Yeah.
That's 2 days before your birthday.
But not in 1874.
100 or so years before.
Yeah. Only 121 years.
My brain likes the connections.
Yeah, but I find that one interesting because, like you said, it is just kind of like a piece of tissue. Like a lot of things when you look them up kind of say that. Been like, why would they choose not to separate at that point? Especially once they're not doing, because they did shows, so they would they learned English. And then once they started doing shows in English, they would sit down and they would just talk and present stuff. And then they would, it was kind of a lot more formal and fancy. And they would make sure they were dressed really well and everything to be more upscale. Yeah. So
this is Chang and Ing. Okay, yeah. It's not.
Yeah, it is kind of after you guys were out of the public eye, you made quite a bit of money and you had your land and everything. Why wouldn't you choose to try and get a surgery or something if it is just some skin and cartilage?
Yeah. Except just a surgery at that time was not as pleasant because they couldn't put you under. They maybe had ether.
But so little keeping you together. I feel like if they just both walked off in separate directions, they just pull apart. There's not much.
I know they make it sound like it's piercing. It's like piercing your nose cartilage or something. Like when you say cartilage, I'm like, oh, that shit's easy to get through. Yeah, it's
well,
whatever.
In all the pictures I saw of them, it's 1 or 2 inches of skin that's connecting them and stuff. It's really, it's not.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah.
I feel like one day I'd get fed up and be like, done, and just walk away.
Literally, just take a fucking knife.
Yeah, it's very little compared to a lot of everybody else in this listicle.
It's not the top of your fucking head. But yeah. Anyway, who are we to judge?
They chose. They had a happy life. They had a bunch of children. Hopefully they had everybody had nice lives.
Wives. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like it worked for them.
And so
So
often, like, that's 2 or 3 you mentioned that married their own sister wives. So it's like they have some idea what it's like to be close to your sibling. I don't know. Like, because,
yeah, these ones
yeah.
married. Well, these ones married sisters. I think some of the other ones just got married, but I don't know. I don't think
Yeah.
they married sisters. But yeah,
I
it
could
is kind
see
of the
it,
same
though.
thing. You got to be a very close knit group, and
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Even regular twins, like the Bella twins, I'm like, they spend so much time with their sister. Like, if you didn't get along with your twin
yeah,
spouse, like, I mean, come on. That just wouldn't work out. If you can't
yeah. It's
stand
hard
them.
enough if you don't get along with regular family.
Exactly. Oh, well, that was great.
Yeah.
How am I to top it? I got some
Hopefully,
stuff.
everybody learned something.
Yeah, I don't think I knew about
I
most of those.
Yeah, I just knew about a couple, and then I was like, okay, like interesting, because yeah, different
And
ways people lived and everything.
and then I took all the other topics. I was like, I'm doing some separated at birth and some twin telepathy. No. Poor
Yeah.
Kelsey was like, I'm trying to find something. I was like, okay, I'm sorry. But that was really good. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you for this is tuco.co.ke for this
Perfect.
listicle.
Well, thank you, Tuco. And we will be right back.
Hi, I'm Heather.
And I'm Dylan. We are Mountain Murders, an Appalachian true crime podcast dropping weekly episodes every Sunday.
Our show offers well-researched cases with unique storytelling and southern flavor.
Stories so good you'll want to sop them up with a biscuit.
Ooh, I pull back the curtain on lesser-known and often obscure regional cases from Georgia to Maine, exploring the darkness that lurks deep in the heart of Appalachia.
And I react with profound statements.
You mean profoundly stupid statements?
Something like that.
We're not your stereotypical hillbillies.
But we do like moonshine.
It'll tickle your innards.
Join us every Wednesday for Mountain Murders Offbeat.
Offbeat is a mini episode covering a variety of topics from true crime to conspiracy theories, the paranormal, and Appalachian-centric subjects.
Find Mountain Murders anywhere you download podcasts. Hit subscribe today to catch up on our latest episodes or binge our catalog.
Alrighty then. So, apropos of talking about twins that are very close together, we're going to talk about some twins that were raised very far apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because apparently there was at least one sort of study that deliberately did that to twins to raise them apart to see like the whole nature versus nurture debate and whatnot.
Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy. It was called the Minnesota Twin Family Study, and that was the major research on twins who are raised apart. And apparently approximately 10,000 people took part, which I don't know if they were like asked nicely or just forcibly told. I don't know. It sounds so sketchy and weird.
Like, that's a lot of people.
Right? And like experiments on people, generally not a good thing. Just gonna go there and say it. Yeah. Yeah, it's like I was listening to an episode of The Constant where they were talking about, sometimes they try to figure out what would happen if you didn't have people speak English to or speak language to babies and if they would learn on their own. It's so like, no, if you don't give them any love and like language and care, they like basically just die. And you're fucked up for trying to like experiment with that.
Yeah, like
Right?
they're only speaking because they're mimicking your voice. So if you're not talking, they wouldn't even attempt to, other than crying, I guess.
Yeah, and how important is this information that we have to deliberately neglect children? I was just like, oof.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy that this kind of thing actually happened. One of the pairs that was a pair that was kept apart was Elizabeth and Anne. These twins spent 78 years apart.
Holy.
Yeah, but when they met, they found out that they had both married someone named Jim. One of them became a Hamill, one of them became a Hunt. They were both widowed at the time, which kind of to be expected at 78 years of age.
Gordo.
You know. Gordo is unimpressed. So before we were so rudely interrupted, Elizabeth and Anne both married Jims, one a Hamill and one a Hunt. Both were widowed, religious people, as they were described, and they were also like being described as kind of hamming it up for the camera or not being camera shy, the opposite, rather.
Hey, they're like 78.
Or at least they spent 78 years apart. Yeah. Like, holy
Yeah.
shit. I don't know how they found each other, honestly.
That's so cute.
I know.
Like-
I like that one a lot. But probably the most famous twins that were part of this study were known as the Jim twins and have been featured on, different podcasts and a documentary called Three Identical Strangers. Oh. Wait, so they were the triplets? Uh-oh. I confused myself.
I think I ran across them when I was looking up stuff.
And were they Jim twins or were they triplets? That's where I get confused. Three identical strangers. My notes don't make sense. I guess there's three of them. Sorry, I think I got mine a little mixed up at some point. Because they're the Jim twins, I feel like, are the pretty famous ones. But then there was a documentary about three identical strangers. So I think that was about different triplets.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Okay, so yeah, I think the more important one that people won't know about is the three identical strangers. And though they met when the brother number one, as we'll call him, his name was Eddie Galland. He had attended New York College that brother number two then enrolled in. Yeah, sorry, I don't know why I had the little bit about the Jim twins because this is different people. So Eddie starts going to New York College, and then when he left, another guy starts going there, and the guys there are like, "Hey, Eddie," and they get mad when he doesn't respond or remember them. But
yeah,
they doubt that there is another one, and those two brothers went on the news as long lost twins, and that's when a third brother, David Kellman, sees this and thinks he's literally seeing double because they look just like him. And then they end up making the media rounds as these long lost triplets, like doing the Today Show and a cameo alongside Madonna in Desperately Seeking Susan. Not that great movie, I think, but
never seen it.
I was like, I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Shoot, sorry. Yeah, I think I got confused and didn't have all three brothers' names. But they did share some similarities. They found out all were wrestlers, enjoyed the same brand of cigarettes, the same favorite color, and a taste in older women. I had a quote, as Kevin Fallon writes in the Daily Beast, they shared the same exact mannerisms, even sitting the same way. They were all wrestlers, liked the same colors, had the same taste in older women, and even bought the same brand of cigarettes. each also had an adopted sister, and all 3 sisters were the same age. Just like weird
Yep.
little things. Yeah.
That they can't
Uh,
really control. It's weird,
yeah.
but that they didn't have control over, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. That's not gonna be genetically determined or whatever.
Yeah.
The story of these triplets turned sinister, though. The 3 born to a single mother who gave them up for adoption, were purposely separated at birth for the aforementioned nature versus nurture type experiment, and placed in 3 different socioeconomic households. So, like, purposely, like poor, middle class, rich type of thing. Put them in 3 different categories. Over the course of their lives, they were visited by researchers posing as adoption agency officials, so outright lying to them, I guess.
Yeah, that's crazy to me.
It's so cruel. It said, but they were never told about the experiment or about each other, and the results of the study have never been made public. And yeah, one of them said, it was cruel, it was wrong, Kelman told the Washington Post early in 2018.
Yeah.
Just a bit
Yeah, I
nicer.
don't like any of the separated intentionally kind of things. Like, I get if somebody gives them up and they get separated because different families adopt them, but if you're like 100% intentionally like stopping a family from knowing there's 2 of them, that they
Even
could be
allowing
adopted
them the
together,
chance to adopt both.
that's
just
so
for the purposes.
sad.
Yeah, I can't see many instances where it is advisable to experiment right on people. Like, it's not great. The next one, Elise, Shine, sorry, was born in New York City and was living in Paris and looking for her birth mother when she found her sister. And this was in 2004. They, at the time, were 35 years old, and they had met at a cafe in New York City. Like, when they decided to meet after they tracked each other down, I should say. Because, this was just a kind of a listicle as well, yeah. And the first thing they did was look each other up and down, assessing the differences, because, of course.
Yeah.
How do you look? And, Bernstein, okay, so that must be the second sister that we haven't named yet, was concerned about her twins' knees. I remember I said, "Do you have chubby knees?" Bernstein told NPR. Chubby knees?
That's weird.
I guess she's sensitive about her knees. And it said, and I kind of glanced down below the hem of her skirt and saw that her knees were quite cute. And I always thought of mine as kind of chubby. You got some
cute knees there. What are
That's
we?
what she thought. She thought,
Men
why
from
didn't she get the cute knees?
I don't know.
Jealousy. Immediate jealousy. Because what do girls do when they see each other? We size each other up, just like guys. Just like anyone. Oh my god.
Yeah, knees. His knees gonna be the new surgery.
Oh my gosh. Right? But did she have cute feet? I'm not as concerned about knees. I mean, knees just kind of always look weird to me. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like being like, oh, that's a cute elbow. Like, no, it's a wrinkly thing of skin, and it's
not a hot body part.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah.
Ooh, knees.
What are knees and elbows called? Oh god, whatever. Limbs, joints,
joints, probably. Yes.
Yeah. It's like I can't think of words. And one of the podcasts I listened to, I think it was "Fuck My Work Life," had a listener story on their promo where it was like someone fell down the stairs and went, and I fell down the stairs and I hit all of my knees and elbows on the way down.
So both.
It was good. So the controversial study that split up Bernstein, Bernstein, who knows? The Bernstein Bears.
How's it spelled?
Right? Oh, God. Don't get me started. The triplet brothers and many others were helmed by Austrian child psychologist Peter Neubauer, who died in 2008. Okay. So the same one as the Minnesota one? I don't know. In interviews before his death, he showed no remorse for the decision to separate siblings and to keep information about their birth from them. He claimed it was all in the name of science.
Yeah, but like, what all did we learn from it? We still argue about nature versus nurture. Like, did we really have some
Exactly.
great breakthrough as a result of this study? I don't think so.
I mean, not usually, right? The nonprofit Jewish Board of Family and Children's Services, which was connected with the since closed adoption agency responsible for the child separations, released a statement to the Washington Post in early 2018 disclaiming responsibility and urging any subjects of the study to come forward. Quote, the Jewish Board does not endorse the study undertaken by Dr. Peter Neubauer and is appreciative that the film Three Identical Strangers has created an opportunity for a public discourse about it. We hope that the film encourages others to come forward and request access to their records.
Yeah.
Can't imagine why the Jewish Board would be against experiments and exclusions like this. Good God.
Right? I can't imagine why.
What? They're not into eugenics either? Oh my God.
Wasn't Hitler obsessed with twins too? Like,
Oh my God, I don't know. Was
Yeah.
he?
yeah.
Oh, fuck. I hate that he was obsessed with the
Yeah.
occult. I'm like, fuck you. You're not cool enough.
But he was a shitty painter.
Yeah. God.
Did you
Okay.
ever see that painting he did of the window in behind a staircase? Ugh,
No.
makes no sense. No, he painted a building and the window is like behind the staircase that would get from the second to the third floor, or like the first to the second floor, and on the outside of a building. And they're like, so that's not where a window would go on this building. I'm pretty sure. Hold on, let me find it. Maybe I'm making this up.
I don't know. It's reminded me of I've been watching a little bit of this show you can find on YouTube called Taskmaster. Where they kind of make a bunch of comedians do weird stuff. It's kind of improv-y, like reminds me of Whose Line Is It Anyway a bit. And I was watching it and they were like, they have to bring in like some stuff for the first task that like they win as the prize at the end of the episode if they win it. And I don't know, they had to bring in something weird or something. This guy was like, it's these medieval paintings of cats when they didn't know how to draw cats, and they all like,
oh my
shows
God, I
one from,
love
like, the
those.
1400s, and the cat has
It looks like
has like a weird human
a
face.
person's face. Yeah,
Yes.
awful. It's scary. Okay, here's
Oh my God.
Hitler's.
It's such a British show. It's so funny.
Okay, here's Hitler's really bad window picture. I was right. I didn't hallucinate this. So,
Okay.
the window
hold it down
right
a little.
here. The window right here
Okay.
is like behind the staircase, the bottom
Oh.
corner. So it's like, yes, that's exactly where a window would be.
The window gets
Thank
cut
you.
off by the stairs. It makes
Yeah.
no sense.
But there's
And not in a
apparently
cool, dolly
mathematically,
way.
they're like, oh yes, all the angles and points of view, everything is like off. Like the perspective is warped. They're like, yes, this
Oh, I
building is not a
bet.
flat wall with like the perspective. They've like mapped it out and been like, oh yeah, the perspective is completely off. This wall
Oh,
will
for
be
sure.
like,
That'd be
yeah, it
like
wouldn't
me
be
trying to do a
flat.
painting. It'd be like shadows
Yeah.
everywhere. None of them make any sense. Nothing looks like the same time of day.
Yeah, you're
Shading's
like,
all off.
so that's what I think of. And I was like, oh yeah, it's a shitty painter. Painted this window behind a staircase.
Wait, and did he fail math too? Or was that Einstein? Oh, I better
don't know.
not equate those in the same sentence. Anyway. Yeah, he sucked. So, oh yeah, we're still talking about these set of twins. Bernstein told NPR that finding her twin compelled her to think more about nature versus nurture. Twins really do force us to question what it is that makes each of us who we are. Since meeting Elise, it is undeniable that genetics play a huge role, probably more than 50%, Bernstein told NPR in 2007. Even though she didn't get the cute knees or whatever.
Yeah,
remember
those
now which
brothers
one.
are just genetically predetermined to like older women.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was the most random connection of them. This one said, it's not just our taste in music or books, it goes beyond that. In her, I see the same basic personality. And yet, eventually, we had to realize that we're different people with different life histories.
Mhm.
And the next pair, one of them was, I don't know if it's pronounced like Anais. The I had that fancy 2 dots over it. Umlaut,
Oh, I have
maybe?
no idea.
It had the 2 dots. So Anais, or however you say it, she was from France. She had a friend point out that she looked just like this actress called Samantha, an American actress called Samantha. I think it's Futerman. Almost looks like Future Man, but with an E.
Oh,
Fooder Man.
okay.
Future Man. No. Samantha was American, so she didn't think too much of it. Different countries, whatever. Then she saw their birthdays, and they were exactly the same, November 19th, 1987. So she ends up messaging the actress saying,
Hey, I
so I
look
don't want to
like
be.
you.
Can you imagine how terrifying that would be?
I can be your stunt double. The best stunt double you could ever hope for. The same person.
I could not message any actor.
Hey, I look like you. Just not at all.
She says, so I don't want to be too Lindsay Lohan, well, but how to put it? I was wondering where you were born? Good for
Wow.
her. So brave. Ugh. So they end up, realizing they're born in South Korea. They get to know each other through Skype. They were both adopted. They had their DNA tested. And then they end up doing their own documentary called Twinsters. Because, of course. I mean, one's already an
Cute.
actress.
Yeah.
They wrote a book called Separated at Birth, at being the at symbol.
Oh
A true
God.
love story of twin sisters reunited. By the way, the at symbol, learned in a podcast, centuries old. Fun fact.
Really?
Apparently, I can't
That's
remember if it
really
was supposed to
weird.
denote like a unit of measurement or something. It was just like a short form. But I was like,
Oh.
wow, that's crazy. Blew my mind. Sorry, I listen to a lot of weird like history podcasts and there's some fun facts sometimes. Both these sisters, these twinsters, separated at birth, learned that they both happened to hate cooked carrots, which was probably the most specific thing about them. Because then it was just like they tended to have their nails and hair done kind of at the same time, and then realized after that they had done that.
Oh.
I know, not super huge similarities, maybe, but. And they also said their taste in music was quite different. It said Bordier likes old and classic rock and roll or electro techno music, while Futerman or Futureman or whatever likes rock and roll, soul, funk, and pop singers such as Ariana Grande and Justin Bieber. Bieber. Did I say Beaver?
I don't know.
I don't know.
My chair made a weird sound when you were
Oh my god.
saying it. I don't know.
Oh, all good. I did not hear it. And as Bordier told The Guardian in 2015, we're so similar. She reacts to things the same way I do. We're both awkward and have the same strange sense of humor. She doesn't have to explain herself to me, and she understands me perfectly too.
Yeah, I think that would be nice.
Yeah.
Like,
It's nice to have a sibling to be close to. I was gonna say a sister. I'm like being close to my sister. We were pretty close growing up.
yeah.
So this one, we'll call it twin brothers from Bogota. Oh my god, what is wrong with my brain? I hate it when I'm on mic and I forget how to pronounce everything in the world. Sorry. So they're from Colombia. And this is an interesting one, I thought. So in 2013, a woman named Jeanette Paz, I don't know that I'm saying that right at all, so sorry. Paez. And her friend Laura visited a guy at a butcher shop in Bogota for some pork ribs for a barbecue. The woman's friend Laura is astonished to see someone who she knows. Like, she's like, I work with you. You're my coworker. You're Jorge. You work with me at Stricon.
He's like, no.
Yeah. She's like, what the fuck, Jorge? That's Jorge, right? Jorge. I used to think it was George, but I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Jorge. Mexican.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean Spanish, because they're not from Mexico. They're from Colombia. And also, I told Rain the other day that, well, at least you don't call it Germish anymore. And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, that's what you used to call German. So cute. Okay. But this guy's name is not Jorge, it's William. And she's like, weird. Okay. You look just like a guy I work with. And then when she's back at work, she says, you must have a twin, Jorge. And he's like, well, yeah, actually I do. But he doesn't work at a butcher shop. His name is Carlos. And he looks nothing like me because we're fraternal, actually. So weird as that was.
I heard about this one. I think I ran
Really?
across it. Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was so cool. I don't think I had. That's why I'm like, yeah, they're twins, but also not. So you're like, okay, so like they all four grew up together. These are like 4 long lost quadruplets or whatever. At least that's what I thought reading the article.
Yeah.
And then just more details was a month or so later when Janet gets a job at Stricon and she sees this Jorge and she's floored that it looks like an exact match, and she shows her friend, which was the butcher named William, who laughs off the resemblance as a complete coincidence. But
yeah.
Quote, after 6 months, Janet left Stricon for another job, but even then, whenever she and her boyfriend ran into William, she wondered if she should have told Jorge about his double. That question tugged at her until finally on September 9th, 2014, a slow day at her new job, Janet texted Laura an image of William to show Jorge. Laura went upstairs to piping to get Jorge's reaction to the photo. Jorge, smiling, took a look at her phone. He swore, "That's me," he said. He stared at the image. William was wearing a yellow Colombian soccer jersey, practically a national uniform on the day of big matches. Jorge often wore one just like it, which made it all the more apparent just how thoroughly the young man in the photo looked like him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be like, before I moved here, I used to tell Pat, you were the only one I knew that wore an Oilers jersey. And like, if I could see someone wearing an Oilers jersey walking down the street, it was Pat. But now, come the playoffs, it's fucking everyone. And I have to look. Yeah, no, that's not you. But you know what I mean? Like, if they have the same build and whatever, it's easier, and they're wearing the same thing. Easier to mistake them. Yeah.
I can always tell my brother it's like, oh yeah, because he's tall, like he's 6'3", and then he's got like his beard, and he's always wearing like a baseball cap and that kind of stuff. So his
Nice.
silhouette sometimes. A couple months ago, we were in a restaurant and they had
Yeah.
like the curtains kind of blocking off the outside entrance, like the window, and I saw
Okay.
somebody walking past and went, "There's Trav." I could tell just
Yeah.
from his silhouette. I'm like, "That's him." Like,
Totally. Yeah,
yeah,
because you know how
side
tall he is.
profile, that's him. Like,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I thought this was funny. A friend was walking by Jorge's desk, and Jorge flagged him down for a second opinion. "Tell me what you think of this photo," he said to his friend, handing him the phone.
This
He looks
photo
at
of
me,
you.
he's like, "You look fine," the friend says. "Except it's not me," Jorge said. He could not stop staring at Laura's phone. Jorge gave up on getting any work done. He sat down with Laura in the office kitchen so they could talk. Maybe his father, who was never more than an occasional visitor to their home, had another child he never mentioned. It's possible.
Yeah.
Jorge started flipping through more of William's Facebook images, now on his own phone. Uneasily, he noted one of William in a butcher's smock, looking just the way Jorge did on the rare days he had to wear a lab coat. He glanced at the
Weird.
picture. I know. And that's if it did upload properly, there is pictures of these guys because, like, yeah, they look similar, but once you see the twins and which ones are supposed to be the twin, you're like, okay, yeah, no, those guys are identical, right? Like,
Yeah, the one picture I
mhm.
saw had like all four of them in the same
Yeah,
picture together, and I was like, "Oh damn!" Like,
that's what I was trying to get a good picture, because they had so many pictures of them all together in the New York Times article. Then I go to download them, and they're like, by the way, create a free account and like sign in and blah blah blah. I was like, fuck
oh,
off. I was just reading this article like the other day. Bastards. Uneasily, he noted one of William. Oh yeah, I said that. Sorry. He glanced at picture of William holding a shot glass, a friend by his side. It was his fraternal twin Carlos sitting next to his doppelganger. Well, it was his spitting image anyway. His brother was the book smart one. He was an accountant. They were both raised by their mom in Bogota along with his sister Diana. He shows his brother Carlos the pics. It is not Carlos in the shots by the bar pic. He asked his twin, "Who are they?" Sorry, I confused myself writing these notes. I'm so sorry if it's not clear. The names were tripping me up. So Jorge only knew that they were raised in the rural town of Santander, known as a rough kind of spot where people, well, the article in New York Times said they kind of love their guns, but fuck off. Who in America doesn't? Yeah. I've learned that New York Times may have a little bit of a bias.
yeah.
Ugh. Anyway, they were born in December of 1988, just as the other brothers had been. So a definite mix-up was suspected at this time. And they both knew if one was not biologically related of these twins, it was probably Carlos, who looked less like his siblings and their mother. They had always assumed he must look more like his dad, who was out of the picture. But
Okay.
can you imagine finding out that you're like, no, it's because you're like not related?
Yeah,
quote,
that would be weird. Like, I don't know what I would do if I found out, like, if somebody just
right?
came out to me and was like, "Your family's not your family." What?
Like, but I kind of look like them though, right? Because like,
Yeah, I have to say, out of these
they look
four,
similar.
like, I can imagine even how hard it would have, how much harder it would have been
Yeah,
to tell them apart as like infants, even because
exactly.
even looking at the four of them, you're like, oh, like you kind of have to really
Exactly.
look like they look similar enough and have enough similar features that you could
If
be,
they're not sat side by side, you're like, okay,
yeah,
that one's twin. Yeah, because they like have a bit of a different nose, but as a baby, like you don't have that as much.
Yeah, and it's not. Yeah, and not by much even.
No, they
Like,
are like quite similar. I was surprised.
I find it funny that in this one picture, 3 out of the 4 of them are basically the same height, and then the one guy is just like 3 inches taller.
Oh,
I think
really?
that's
It was a
yeah.
really quite a fascinating article. Like, I obviously couldn't quote all of it, but like talking about
Yeah.
how they had been raised different and how that had an effect on their lives, and
It's the
like
ultimate test. It's 2 twins, two
it is.
identical twins in the same
And
house.
yeah, exactly.
But
One of
not.
each kind living the poor life,
Yeah.
one of each kind like
It's that
living the rich
guy's
life. They
it's
were.
that guy's it's that guy's dream. And it was an
It's the prince and
accident.
the fucking pauper, man. It's fucking yeah. It's City Mouse and Country Mouse or whatever.
Be like, so that's what I'd look like if I ate healthy food or
I
something.
grew up with money. No, but seriously
Yeah.
though, like yeah, I
Damn.
think I might have a little bit, but so this is a quote that Carlos never looked like Jorge and Diana was obvious. So I think Diana was the sister. His siblings shared their mother's more delicate frame, her high cheekbones, her eyes. Carlos was taller, solidly built, with a wider nose and a heavier brow. The contrast was not merely physical. Carlos had always felt like an outlier in his family, although he preferred to think of himself as independent. Oh.
Yeah.
As a child, Carlos had no interest in joining the elaborate games of make believe that his mother and siblings played, the funny voices they each put on, play acting for hours. Since their mother died, he checked in with Diana far less often than Jorge did. He was the only one in the family who cared about fashion, and God knows he was the only one who could dance.
Savage.
I know, I forget who was like writing this, but Carlos and Jorge had always assumed that Carlos took after their father, but they did not know him well enough to be sure.
Yeah.
But since Carlos loved his mother very much, this was a shock, of course. Meanwhile, William is working at the butcher shop and talking about his double with his cousins and his brother Wilbur. So there's a William and a Wilbur. So forgive me, but I. Janet was dating William's cousin Brian, who worked at the shop, the butcher shop. She suggested that maybe they'd been to the Bogota hospital as infants for some reason, because they lived in the rural area, but Bogota is the capital, so like maybe you would have come to the bigger hospital, the big city.
I mean, yeah, if you're giving birth to twins, you're probably going to the big city.
Or there could, yeah, exactly, could be some complications. Yeah. And that's, I think, what happened. They call William's aunt, who confirms this theory. She said he and Wilbur were delivered at just 28 weeks, and William had digestive problems. The aunt said he was treated at the Materno Infantil in the city. Janet went about asking Jorge if he could confirm he'd been born there too. When William found out it was a yes, he was devastated. Of his 5 siblings, he was the closest to his mom, always there for her. But when he told Wilbur, Wilbur shrugged it off, saying, "So, we were swapped. You're still my brother." This made me cry. I know. Oh yeah, and that's when the article had the thing about like, yeah, I didn't quote it, but I summarized it by saying that twins are 2 sperm, 2 eggs. Identical ones are 1 fertilized egg that divides by a fluke or accident. So it's like different genetic material, I guess. I don't know. Janet arranged a meetup. Wilbur called Jorge to ask if his cousin Brian could come. They noticed they did not sound alike for twins. On their voices, Williams was huskier, and of course there was the Santander accent. William also called Jorge Sir, a formality typical of people from the countryside.
Cute. Oh, that's so
cute.
Know.
Sir. Jorge thought he liked this person's voice. He sounded not just nice, but good. Oh my God.
That's really sweet.
I know, some of this was very touching. I just kept including more. I couldn't help myself. The meeting was awkward and shy. After William met Jorge, they went to Carlos's house, but he was too scared. Yeah, because Carlos didn't want to meet up with the other two at first that thought they were twins. I don't know.
He'd be
So
like,
he was too scared.
let's go play pranks on people right now. Like,
Can you imagine though? Like, it's not even just like finding out you have another sibling. It's like another you. Ugh.
but the I don't know, maybe the best thing about it is because it happened with like the pair of
Two
them, you
sets.
know, at least that like the brother you have that you grew up with is going through the exact same thing you are.
Exactly.
Of like,
yeah. Can you imagine if it was just one of
or
them?
I guess the other one.
Yeah.
I guess it's the other one from the other family is going through the same thing of been like, so you do
Right.
have somebody to talk to about it that knows exactly how you feel, I guess.
Because all four of them just would have found out that they had a twin that was not their twin that they grew up with. Yeah. It's a lot.
So yeah, and it was like, oh well, like I'm not with like my right family, and then they're not with theirs, but they know what I'm going through, and then this person just found out your brother isn't actually your brother, but you do have a brother. It's this brother.
You're the brother from another mother. No, it's so much, and it's like it's a little stressful. They were like, one of the mothers has passed away, so it's very like hard on them, I think, you know?
Yeah.
Ugh. Sorry. It's just rough. Oh yeah, 'cause when they went, William and Jorge, to Carlos's house, he had been too scared to go meet them, and then he was too scared to open the door at first. And then they said when he finally did, he and Wilbur, his, I guess, twin, took one, looked at each other, yelped, "Aye!" and turned away. I'm like, oh. And one of the articles...
and it's true, right?
Yes!
It's true.
One of them had like their first meeting or whatever from the first two twins, where they like first saw each other in the street. Oh my god, I was like, oh, that's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, you can like watch the video. Oh yeah, they both shouted "aye" and turned their back. Oh, sorry, this was a quote. They took a quick peek at each other. They both shouted "aye" and turned their backs, covering their eyes, each turning red. Well, Wilbur started speaking, but Carlos was having a hard time catching what he was saying. Instead of rolling his R's, Wilbur spoke with hard D's. The speech impediment. Carlos had one as a child, but overcame it with speech therapy.
Oh.
The only thing that makes me think of is when Fez from that 70s show is they're trying to teach him to become an American citizen, and he can't pronounce America. He says, America. And then they're like, well, how do you say Eric? And he just goes, Eric. Like, totally like different tone of voice. It's so stupid. Okay. So that's about it on them. They're looking for their differences. Some of them had callous hands compared to the city mouse.
Yeah.
And even
I can tell which one is the guy with the tie and the glasses. That's the one that actually is taller than them.
Taller, literally. I think it said that the
taller.
That might be further on my notes, but that the taller ones were the ones that got to live in the city. And like, so it must have to do with their lifestyle. And I was like, that's crazy. Shit, I think I have it here later on. Yeah, one of them had calloused hands. The other ones, Wilbur's hands were like manicured, clear nail polish, which apparently was popular with these Metro City guys. And the most important part was that they all supported the same soccer team, Athletic Nacional.
Yeah, I mean,
isn't it?
It's very popular. So
It's very important in Colombia. Ba, 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 ba. Yeah, there were some weird things that came up about the study they did in Minnesota that separated the twins, such as like there was this quote from this Thomas Bouchard Jr. They said he was a psychologist at the University of Minnesota who began studying twins in 79. Now I'm nervous why I included this, but he said researchers have claimed to divine a genetic influence in such varied traits as gun ownership, voting preferences, homosexuality, job satisfaction, coffee consumption, rule enforcement, and insomnia.
That's a wide range of topics.
Right?
I would never have guessed any of those at the top of my head.
That they're all a genetic influence on these traits?
Weird.
Okay. Like, okay. But one unexpected finding in his research suggested that the effect of a pair's shared environment, say their parents, had little bearing on personality. Genes and unique experiences, a semester abroad, an important friend, were more influential.
Okay.
I found that kind of interesting. I don't know.
I think everything works together.
Yeah, because obviously people could grow up in the same household, same parents, be totally different people. Like we have some of the same DNA, but yeah, different from my siblings as you are, of course.
Yeah.
This was sweet. Jorge got a tattoo of his fraternal brother Carlos on his chest to include him, as that was the one he grew up with, and his brother Carlos was starting to, I think, feel abandoned because he connected so much with his actual twin that he got a picture on his chest, a tattoo right next to his mother's face tattoo.
That's sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, and they've continued to kind of like try to get to know the family, the biological parents in that rural area of Santander. That I don't remember who their biological children were, but they were just like, those were the alive parents, and they were like, there's so many feelings to navigate and things they had to go through, and they're just trying to like get to know what it would have been like. And they were like, Carlos would probably not have been an accountant. And Carlos was like, sure, it could have been, but like it was really hard to get to school if you lived in the rural area. So
yeah,
I think he had a hard time coming to terms with the fact that he might not have been if he had grown up somewhere different. His life would have been totally different.
Yeah, it's like your like opportunity.
Exactly. Yeah. You're like, okay, you're born like a rich white man in America, or you're born like a poor ass fucking boy in like Colombia, or like, God forbid, something even worse, like a woman somewhere else, or whatever. Ugh. Yeah. Oh yeah, they got into some bio things that seemed very interesting, but also had a hard time understanding.
Okay.
Yeah, there's some sort of study available that was like, oh, this case is so wonderful. We can look into 2 different sets of twins raised in 2 different places, and it will be a rare insight into these epigenetics or something like that. Okay, does this make any sense? The meta-analysis published this spring in Nature Genetics, which examined 50 years of studies of twins, arrived at a conclusion about the impact of heredity and environment on human beings' lives. They're really trying to do that nature versus nurture.
Nature versus nurture. Environment or heredity. Nature versus nurture. How differently can we say that?
On average, the researchers found any particular trait or disease in an individual is about 50% influenced by environment and 50% influenced by genes.
Oh my god.
Isn't that neat?
Who would have guessed? It's both. 50-50.
Right? And how do they come up
probably.
with the exact 50? Oh.
Another study? I don't know.
Oh God, hopefully not. Guess what? Chat GPT or AI or whatever can make up fake citations for studies that don't exist.
Oh my
That-
god.
I was just
Jesus
reading an
Christ.
article from a
course it
newsletter
can.
from Medium that was like, yeah, that little thing Robert Kennedy put out or whatever that had citations for his Make America Fit Again. They were like, yeah, you gotta look at those citations because those are just made up by Chat GPT because they're like, we know what a citation looks like. It's not a real study.
Yeah. Oh my
This
god.
is crazy. Oh, it's crazy, guys.
I hate it all.
I hate all of it. Just had to throw that in there. But yeah, 50%. I don't know. There's definitely some things they think about our genes. It said interacting with the environment, switching on, switching off, depending on the stimulus, sometimes with lasting results that will continue on in our genome, passed to the next generation. I'm like, I don't understand, but it's crazy. It's like, whatever. Yeah, but definitely, from what some researchers have concluded, environment could certainly have an impact. And I think I agree with that. Like,
It sounds
don't know
like
how
it
much.
does.
Yeah.
With like
Yeah.
how many things.
Yeah, we don't have to put a number on it. We just realize that it's a truth. Your environment affects your life. Like, not a shocker. So that's the end of my separated twins. And where are we at? 52? I had a couple blurbs of twin telepathy. I'll do a couple. I'm almost at an hour, so yeah. Okay, so little blurb anecdotes about twin telepathy, sort of when they knew stuff. My aunt and dad were twins. My aunt woke up in the middle of the night from an odd dream. She even woke my uncle up to tell him about it. In the dream, my dad told her to take care of my sister and I. He told my aunt he was leaving and needed her to look after us. She said the dream really shook her. That morning, we found out my dad died in his sleep. By India Lee.
Oh, jeez.
I know, some of them are sad, sorry. It's like this, yeah, the precog dreams or whatever, almost.
Yeah.
Or is it precog if they're at the exact same time? Yeah. In high school, we took a quiz on the assigned reading we had done from To Kill a Mockingbird. One of the questions was, what did Scout dress up as for Halloween?
A ham.
What? How did you know that?
It's a ham. Because I saw the movie and read the book in high school. It's a ham. It's like a honey ham or whatever. A ham bone.
I did not know that. Like, I know some references from To Kill a Mockingbird, but they had to put in breakfast. Breakfast?
It's actually
Brackets?
very, very cute. It's a very cute costume.
Oh, that is so cute. That's so funny. And it said in brackets a ham, and then my brother and I included similarly drawn pictures of stick figures wearing ham costumes in the margins of the quiz. And that was apparently a submission by Oatmeal Raisin Bagel.
Oatmeal raisin bagel? I've never heard of an oatmeal bagel.
I know. I was just chewing on that in my mind too.
No. I mean, if you've seen the movie, it's very cute.
Yeah, right. I don't know that I've seen the whole movie. Just seen it referenced so many times. The next one, during woodshop, my twin thought, I wish I had that sandpaper. I thought he had said this aloud and handed him the sandpaper to him without saying anything. No one around us heard him say he wanted the sandpaper, and is still one of our greatest moments. By Call Me Kenneth. Oh gosh. One of us was going up the
Are you
stairs and
ready?
the other was playing in the living room. My mom was stood in the doorway of the hallway and the living room so she could see both of us. Whoever was on the stairs fell and banged their knee, but was fine. Instantly, the twin in the living room, who couldn't see the stairs and was unaware anything had happened, suddenly grabbed his knee and started crying.
Oh my
By
god.
Jack is back. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I know.
Are you ready? Here's the ham. Here's the ham costume.
Creepy.
It's like literally just a blob with like a top for her eyes to stick out. It's hilarious. And
yeah,
it
it's
says
like they
ham.
haven't cut the ham in half or anything.
And it's literally labeled ham.
Ham.
It's great. Yeah, it makes me so happy. It's like stupid.
It makes me think of The Simpsons. I feel like they were always making them frickin' costumes. But I have to be California.
If you had asked me literally anything other than to get a boat to kill a mockingbird, other than what she dressed as, I would not have known the answer.
I was about to say the brackets, a ham, when you were like, a ham. It's like, okay. Cool,
like,
bitch.
yes,
Did
book.
you know this?
It's a book about racism, and I was like, yes,
Wait,
all that,
so what
but
does
the
the
ham.
ham mean?
I don't know. They're doing a I think it. I wouldn't have remembered it was for Halloween. I thought it was like a Thanksgiving play or something. So.
Oh yeah, right. This one said, I used to date a twin a long time ago before smartphones and internet, and his twin brother came back from vacation with a broken leg. My ex said, oh, so matter-of-factly, oh, I wondered why my knee was hurting.
Creepy.
All right. My father is a twin. When my uncle was on his honeymoon, my parents were robbed. When my dad discovered the break-in, my uncle, sitting at his campsite, jumped up and told my aunt, pack your shit. Something happened with, in brackets, my dad. We gotta go. They were 1,500 miles away. Jesus Christ.
Oh my god.
That's crazy. Okay, my twin and I were both sport camp counselors a couple summers ago. To decide which team would go to bat first, my twin and I would play rock, paper, scissors. We shot, quote unquote, the same hand 9 times in a row. That would just get annoying.
That's pretty good, yeah.
Damn it! Don't, damn it! Yeah.
You'd be like, do it with your eyes closed, facing opposite directions, jumping on one leg.
Right. I know. Some podcasters I know, they're like, let's try and do it from far away. I'm holding up this card. The next one was the very short. I knew she was pregnant with her first child before she did.
Oh.
And then I have twin daughters. They are 18 months, so they haven't had a lot of time to do something too freaky. However, once I came to pick them up at daycare, and they were still playing while I was talking with the teacher. They were on opposite sides of the room from each other, each pushing a play stroller with a baby doll in it. At the exact same time, with no discernible communication made, they both stopped, walked to the other side of the room, and started pushing the other stroller. It was crazy.
Oh.
I know, that sounds like a glitch in the Matrix.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Twin here. In high school, I was out four-wheeling with a friend at the time. My twin, on the other hand, was about 50 miles away from me at work. While screwing around that day, I flipped my buddy's truck and almost got us killed. So being in the middle of nowhere with no cell service, we figure out a plan to get help. A few hours later, after we make it back home into cell service, I see I have a missed call from my twin. I give him a ring to tell him this crazy story about wrecking a truck. He answers in a panic, asking me if I'm okay and what happened. Slightly caught off guard, I asked, what do you mean? He said he was working, and at the exact same time I flipped this truck into a ditch, he was hit with this wave of something going terribly wrong. He knew it involved me, but didn't know what had happened. After the phone call, I look at my phone to realize his call came in 1 minute after I'd crashed the truck.
Oh, wow.
Throughout our lives, there's been other instances of this. Couldn't you just get like a minute or two before? That would be much more helpful.
Yeah. Don't flip the truck.
Yeah. I could tell you were in trouble, but cell service was shit. Yeah. Oh, yeah, this was a weird one. I'm an identical twin. My brother and I are very close. There was a brief period of time where my brother and I would longboard either stoned or drunk, or both.
Oh
You were
God, that's
tweens.
dangerous.
I know it doesn't sound great, but they're being honest. Um, I had an extremely vivid dream one night of my brother's funeral. The dream started with me at an altar and a crowd of people sitting in pews. I looked down at the altar and noticed a sheet of paper, so I began reading it aloud. It described in detail how my brother died longboarding down a hill and getting hit by a car. I remember reading it and having this incredibly eerie feeling like I was having some sort of premonition or something. Like what I was reading was something that was going to inevitably happen. After this realization, I looked up and everyone in my dream was standing and looking at me with wide eyes. When I looked down at the page I had just been reading, the text read in giant bold lettering, "Wake up, warn him, wake up, warn him, wake up, warn him."
Wow.
Everybody in the pews suddenly started rushing the altar, choking and crushing me. I woke up sobbing incredibly hard, finding it hard to breathe, as if I had actually been trampled and suffocated. I'm not usually one to believe in dreams or premonitions, but this scared me shitless. I wrote a lengthy text describing my dream and asking him to promise not to longboard under any sort of influence anytime soon. We both quit longboarding shortly after. By NEGH. I don't know how you say that.
That's good. Yeah.
Oh, scary. Yeah, some of them are like about the most terrifying things. My wife's best friends growing up were a set of twins, and a few years ago, one of them died after a long battle with cancer. Her twin was talking with us after the funeral and saying how she could feel the cancer winning and knew what her sister was going to find out from them, the doctor, and could even tell the third time the cancer came back before the sister did. Ugh.
Jeez.
It doesn't seem helpful if you can't do anything about it. Oh,
No.
that. Back in 2004, my twin brother got married and I went to Hawaii several months later on a delayed honeymoon. Around Tuesday, I started to feel really hot and felt heat radiating off my skin. The next day, it was a little worse. That night, they called and said where they were at. I asked them if Jason had gotten a sunburn, and his wife confirmed he had gotten his back sunburned. Less traumatic.
Yeah. But I mean, you know they're going on vacation. They're probably going to get a sunburn.
I know you could almost infer that on your own, but it is interesting if they like feel it getting hot.
Yeah.
The rest of that one was there have been other times I was thinking about something and he would start talking about the same subject. Once when we were kids, I was thinking how awesome pizza would be for dinner, and then he asked Mom if we could get pizza.
What kid doesn't want pizza? Okay. No.
At any time. Yeah.
Pizza all
Another
the
time in
time.
an English class, we had to write an essay at the end of a test. The teacher thought we had somehow cheated. Both essays were identical with the same grammar mistakes. We were sitting on opposite sides of the room during the test.
That's pretty good.
No, we just both don't know how to spell definitely.
I definitely don't know how to spell definitely or restaurant.
I always spell it wrong. Oh, this reminds me of Modern Family. Seriously, I'm not making this up. We were playing a game of Pictionary. We were not cheating, just playing regularly. I drew 2/3 of a circle, and he blurts out, "King Tut!" That was the answer. Because there's an episode of Modern Family where like, Cam and Mitch are like, and then I just like, and he makes like piano playing like fingers, right? Like as if he's gonna play it on piano. And then Mitch just goes, "Casablanca!" And that was the answer. So stupid.
Damn.
Oh. Yeah.
I would see if I was a twin, I'd be doing shit like that all the time. Anytime I would be bored, I'd be like, say pickle. Like in my head, just be like, I'm gonna, and my twin would be so mad because it'd constantly be like, if you can read my mind right now,
you'd be working on the telepathy.
I would be screaming at them in my head at all times.
I mean, we could get it going. I'm sure. We don't have to be twins. I don't want the twin pain thing.
No, that
Like,
sucks.
no. I'm good without that.
No, only the fun things.
Only the fun things. But yeah, there's like so many. I mean, that was part
Yeah.
of the reason I was able to like I get these notes done. I found a bunch on like little anecdotes and that was really fun. So then I just found some of the other ones. I was like, oh, look what happens when you separate them at birth. Not so fun.
Yeah. No,
Crazy.
definitely not so fun.
No. Well, anyway, I guess we'll be back next week to talk about some other shit.
Yeah. We're doing what did
Wet
we even
bodies.
decide on?
I was
What
like,
bodies?
well, I wrote down bodies in the water because I think that's a song or something. But yeah, we were like talking about how there's so many cases around the water.
Yeah, I have a bunch
yeah.
saved. I was like, why do I have all these boating accidents saved?
I mean, ask Mr. Ballin why he has a whole series of like people going to places they're not supposed to go to.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's sad, but like keeps his stories going. I don't know. Oh. Yeah, that should be interesting. There's many ways you can die in and around bodies of water, on ships, in the water.
Yep.
Kudos to you that choose to work on the water, like my sister who works in the Navy. Good job. You're brave.
You're very like isolated and
oh shit, yeah. Like
I don't get like
submarine, I could not.
I don't get claustrophobic, but is there something of there has to be something of like a fear of like just a I don't know, like the open ocean? There's got to be a fear of that, right?
There's very specific fears surrounding the ocean. There's like one of like giant things in the ocean, like megalo something phobia. I don't know. It's
Mine's more like
yeah.
at least on land, if you're in a big open space and you need to escape, you can just keep walking. But if you're in the ocean, where do you go? Are you gonna swim and tread water for 4 hours while you wait for rescue? Like, what's the plan?
Exactly. It is. It's very scary. I almost get offended though sometimes. I don't know if it was you or was Pat just saying maybe that he was like, "Oh, I love a lake, love a river, swim in the ocean." Nope. And I know some people are like that. But having grown up near the rugged Atlantic Ocean, I'm like, I love the ocean, but also terrified. Like, I don't want to be out in the middle of it. Like, fuck that.
I don't really like I don't like water I can't see the bottom of, so
oh god, where it gets all black and shit and you really can't see the bottom. That is scary.
yeah. So whether it's like a lake or ocean or anything like that, anything where it gets deep enough that like I can't see what I'm walking on, I don't love. Because
it can just be scary. We went down to the river valley for a walk and just walking over the bridge.
There's sharks in lakes. There's sharks in lakes that are closed off away from the ocean.
I just couldn't get over how like green our river here looks. I was like, oh yeah.
No.
I mean, obviously there's not going to be like a clear ass like, you know, Bermuda water or whatever. But I was just like, huh.
No, that'd be nice though.
Green. I can't see the bottom of that.
Yeah.
What are you guys swimming in? Yeah, we took the dog. He got to the point where like we've never seen him lay down on a walk, but he was hot and tuckered out for a bit after we went across the bridge. And there was a little, yes, pal, I'm talking about you. There was a little path that went down towards the water, and we started to kind of see, because it's real steep, right? Like you can't get down to the river at most points. Yeah, it looks like.
Yeah.
And like it was like, no, we can't reach the water. But then he like kind of sat down in the shade. He looked like he was not
like, I'm done. Carry me back. Carry me
like
back.
those videos. Where they're like pulling their dogs.
Yeah.
I was like, oh god, we cannot carry you.
Yeah.
I took the leash from Pat. I was like, come on, Fen, we'll go slow. I was like, I don't want you to get heat stroke. Like, Yeah. Well, because usually we walk them early in the morning, right? And then this was like 3,
Yeah.
4 in the afternoon. We just thought we'd take a drive down to the river valley, and it was cool when you were on the bridge and by the water, but it
Yeah.
was really hot too.
Damn.
Poor little guy.
My
Ugh.
parents, one of their first house I think they lived in together, it was what my grandpa had the house there, my dad said, and then they like
Ooh.
moved in with him basically, and then
Yeah.
it was in the river valley right by the like
So
Mutart
nice.
Conservatory or whatever, the
Oh my
plant thing
gosh.
there. Yeah.
It's like a gorgeous garden area they have.
Yeah, tiny houses though.
Hmm.
It was like, yeah, very, very small. But it was like right there
Oh
in the
yeah.
river valley. Very cute.
Yeah, to be in the heart of things, like it's nice, but there we had people that were like, "Oh, you guys could do rent to own and buy the property," and like we didn't end up doing that. And I'm glad. I'm glad we live in the burbs. So, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Much easier to
Yeah.
live in a fairly new house.
Yeah. Gotta say, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Ugh. We cause all the problems to it. As Fenrir like rips apart the
I can
carpet,
hear
I can
him.
hear him. Can you?
Yeah, I heard him
You're
scratching right
supposed to
on
do that
time.
on the mat. I know. I struggle to get his nails trimmed. Hi, pal. He's gonna pull Gordo. What are you doing, Mom? Okay, bye. I just opened the door. Now I'm leaving.
You're not
All
being
right.
interesting.
Well,
Gordo's still
yeah.
sleeping. Yeah.
I think it's a sign.
Yeah.
Thank you guys
I
for
want to
listening.
go sleep. Yeah.
You're gonna go to sleep? Is that what you
Yeah.
said?
I'm tired. I've been up since 5:30 this morning.
Oh God, that's gonna be me when I'm working at
Yeah.
8. No. I'll get up like an hour before I have to go in. That's my like max. Terrible, I know. All right. Catch you next week. Thank you for listening to Castles and Cryptids. We love all our listeners and appreciate every subscriber, every new review, every listen, rate, and download. Our music is by Kobe Off Air, and our cover art is by Antonio Garcia. We are also a proud member of Darkcast Network, where you can find the best and spookiest of all indie podcasts. Follow us on social media, where we are at Castles and Cryptids on mostly all of the things, now including TikTok. Check out our bonus content on Patreon, cryptid clashes, video minisodes of your hosts making asses of themselves, Ask Me Anything, quizzes, other special episodes, and more. Starting at just $2 a month, you can get 1 to 2 extra episodes, depending on your level. We produce, edit, and research everything ourselves, and any support you can lend helps us to keep it cryptic.